So, what is the Cinnamon Challenge? Well, I imagine at this point most of you guys have seen some young, eager fool trying to shovel a whole bunch of powdered cinnamon into their mouth. And what happens? They cough, they choke, you see a big puff of rusty powder, and the challenge is failed. So why can't most people conquer the Cinnamon Challenge? And can we conquer the Cinnamon Challenge on today's medical moment?
I'm Dr. Idris.
I'm Dr. Jamel.
And this is today's medical moment.
Right here.
Right now.
And so we want to know, can we conquer the Cinnamon Challenge? And why can't most people conquer the Cinnamon Challenge?
I can do
Well, most mere mortals cannot conquer the Cinnamon Challenge for one very simple reason. Cinnamon is a hydrophobic mix of cellulose and bark from the cassia tree.
Whoa.
So what does hydrophobic mean? Basically, it means that it does not mix well with water and liquid. So what basically happens when people are doing the Cinnamon Challenge, they put this hydrophobic powder into their mouths. Saliva cannot coat this hydrophobic powder because it won't mix. So this powder remains a powder. It starts to irritate their mouth. It irritates their throats. It stimulates what's called the glossopharyngeal nerve. That causes them to cough a little bit. They inhale. That inhalation causes laryngeal spasms where the voice box and the throat starts to spasm. And they can't get that powder down, and then you see the dragon puff. You see all of that cinnamon come out.
Are you telling me not to do what? So I shouldn't do it?
Well, you know what? Listen further and you decide for yourself, young buck. Remember, part of that process I said was inhalation. They inhale this powder that remains powder because it won't mix with their saliva. And that's where the trouble can come in. And that's where the challenge comes as well. The challenge is it's very tough to swallow something that remains a powder, that doesn't mix with saliva. That's the purpose of saliva, to soften, to lubricate, to help it get down.
I'm going to do it.
He probably could. I think you will be able to do it. But, just in case most of you guys don't want to see this fool choke on some cinnamon, and you actually want to learn about the challenge and the dangers of the challenge, here they are. Best case scenario, you look like a fool. Like I said, you see a whole bunch of cinnamon coming out of your mouth, you choke, you have a good time, no big deal. But sometimes what happens is when you inhale, that cinnamon, that hydrophobic powder, gets down into your airways. Once that cellulose and that bark gets down into your airways and into your lungs, it still can't be broken down by your lungs. And so you just have this powdery mix in your lungs. That irritates the air sacs, that irritates the airways, and that can cause acute pulmonary edema and acute respiratory compromise. Basically, you get swelling and fluid on the lungs. Acutely, short term, that means that you may need to be intubated, where they put a tube down your throat to help you breathe. Long term, because that powder cannot be broken down, it just scars the lungs and can result in what's called pulmonary fibrosis. The thing that you could most closely compare pulmonary fibrosis to is emphysema. The lungs are basically scarred and they don't work as well anymore. And so short term, if you want to look like a fool, inhale that cinnamon. Long term, if you want to have long term, if you want to have breathing difficulties, inhale that cinnamon. And so these are some of the dangers associated with the Cinnamon Challenge, and it's the hydrophobic nature of cinnamon that makes the Cinnamon Challenge so difficult for most mere mortals to handle.
Oh, there you go with the mere mortals again.
So what are some of the other dangers of cinnamon? Or what are some of the, there are more, unfortunately. Cinnamon can cause some other issues as well. It's been linked to preterm labor in pregnant women.
I'm not pregnant.
You're not pregnant. I was going to say. Cinnamon has also been associated with kidney failure and liver failure when it's consumed in large, unusual quantities. But it's not all bad. There are some benefits associated with cinnamon as well. Cinnamon has been shown to slow the progress of Alzheimer's, and that was in a study that came out of Tel Aviv in Israel. More.
Okay.
Yeah. Cinnamon has been shown to slow the progression of multiple sclerosis, and that study actually came out of Rush University Medical School, the nation's best medical school, first medical school in the city of Chicago, and our alma mater, by the way. And cinnamon, in appropriate quantities and administered properly, has also been shown to lower blood sugar, and so it can actually help to fight diabetes. And so, at the end of the day, really, cinnamon isn't that bad. And that's actually why I take 2 cinnamon tablets every morning. And so, you want to see my cinnamon challenge? Here it is.
That didn't look too hard.
I'm no sucker. That's my cinnamon challenge, and that should be yours too, on today's Medical Moment.
As always, guys, take cinnamon and tablets. Be healthy.